Hello and welcome to Casting Pods. My name is Blaine Shields, and today I want to ask you the question: why is it, do you think, that just about all of our favorite heroes are flawed? Batman lost his parents and can never feel like enough is enough when it comes to the push to protect and save others, in part because he wasn't able to protect and save his own parents. Superman had lost his entire planet while he was still a baby, and he found himself thrown into a universe to arrive at Earth and be raised by a family that wasn't his own. He had to struggle with being different from everyone else and hide his abilities. And in doing so, he also had to struggle to hide who he really was from those around him to protect those that he loved. The very rocks from his planet that he came from, well, they were part of his past. And they were also the one thing that could kill him. Iron Man pushed to try and become a help and a strong protector for the world because, in part, he had spent his formative years of life making billions of dollars by the selling and production of death machines and weapons, and he now wanted to do the right thing with both his life and his work. He was also an alcoholic, struggling against the demons of his past and his failures. Wolverine was a loner who tried to stay out of the fight, unable to control some of his issues with rage and self-destructiveness. Ghost Rider had traded his soul to save his father, who died anyway, and was supposed to be used by the Evil One in order to accomplish his will. But he battled against his inner demons, both literal and figurative, to try and help others and keep others from harm's way, despite how much it was costing him. Dr. Strange had been an amazing surgeon, but struggled with a God complex, and had ultimately turned his back on many in the name of what's in it for me. Ultimately, his callousness and pride had cost him everything after he lost the use of his hands in an accident. In regaining the use of his hands, he had become a sorcerer, who, time and time again, had to put the loss of those closest to him in order to save the world, the universe, and reality. Deadpool had... Okay, let's face it, Deadpool has a lot of issues. The point is, most of our favorite heroes are damaged. Why would it be imperfection in their characters that still draws us to them? Why would we tolerate flawed heroes? More importantly, why do we accept the imperfections of them quicker than we accept our own? Look, it's really easy to look at others around us and look at the people in media and say, look at them. They have the perfect life and the perfect marriage and the perfect home and the perfect... and you can add whatever detail about them you want here. But the thing is, we just don't see the kryptonite or the loss or the rage or the addictions or the struggles that they have in their own lives. We see the family portrait. You remember that, right? The family portrait, when you had those portraits taken and everyone had to get into their suits and ties and dresses and everything had to look perfect. Or maybe you remember the glamour shots that were extremely popular in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, I had to search and finally reach out for what that name was, although I remember the pictures being taken and put out everywhere by folks who wanted to look like they were movie star famous. The thing about these pictures is they reflected who we wanted people to see us as, not as the real us. And that's the problem with looking at the rest of the world through glamour shot family portrait glasses. We only see the good and not the inner person. We don't see the reality. And in doing so, we see ourselves for who we are, and we feel worth less and worthless compared to the rest of the world. We don't stack up. We aren't as pretty, as handsome, as smart, as energetic, as well-educated, as quick-witted, as driven, as motivated, as strong, as cool, as... and the list goes on and on. But here's the thing that we need to understand. It isn't perfection that made the heroes who they were. In fact, it was their imperfections that made them who they are. And that's a good thing. That's what made them who we respected and loved. And likewise, it's your imperfections that make you who you are. Because here's the thing. You are amazing, and I mean that. The thing about heroes is that you can't just take the good without also taking the bad. It's who they are and what drives them to be the person that you admire. And we all have flaws and imperfections and struggles, and that's okay. You are amazing just as you are, and don't forget that, because each of you out there are the very heroes that I would want to read about. Your stories are amazing. Your lives are beautiful, even in the midst of the struggle, because you are who you are. That makes you my hero. Cheers. You are loved, and God bless you, one and all.